Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my good people. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us on this Facebook Live and also on YouTube Live as well. I'm super excited about being back on Facebook Live. It's been a minute, and so I feel like it's time to come back and just to share and to teach and to give some kingdom insight. And so I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you who are watching right now, for those of you who are watching later on the replay, remember you only got 30 days to watch this thing before Facebook takes it down. And so make sure you give everything you need to get and then move forward with authenticity and boldness. I am Coach Jesse Cole, your Kingdom Confidence Coach. I help kingdom business leaders demonstrate the power, the authority, and the influence of God in their life and business with authenticity and boldness. Today, we're talking about living with conviction as a kingdom business leader, a kingdom business owner, living with conviction. And this message it's not just for business leaders. I put it that way because that's my audience. That's who I speak to. Leaders and business leaders, marketplace leaders, that's who I speak to. But this can be for anybody. This is a across the board general message, but we're going to be talking specifically to kingdom business leaders. Why kingdom business leaders? Well, we've been called to do this thing different. The world system is not built for us. The world system does not lay down for us. It does not accommodate us. However, because of who our father is, we have access to everything that the world has to offer. We have access to it because our father owns the world. And I truly believe that kingdom is not countercultural. Let me say that again. Kingdom is not countercultural. Kingdom is the culture. Why? Because the kingdom was here first. If you need proof, if you need biblical sound proof, it's the first, the first book of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Kingdom was here first. And when you look at that word counter, in order for something to counter, it needs something to counter. So that means that something had to happen first in order for something to be countered, right? When you look at boxing, it's a counter punch. The only way that a person can do a counter punch is if a punch was already thrown. So kingdom cannot be counterculture because kingdom was here first. In the beginning, God created the heavens and like we were here first. Kingdom was here first. So that's a different teaching, but that is a conviction that I have, and I lead with that conviction. So I wanted to talk about conviction, leading with conviction today, because there's something that I'm seeing, and it's not new, um, but as I grow in this work, and as I grow as a kingdom marketplace leader, and as I am putting myself in different business environments, I'm seeing this over and over and over and over again. How people are not living with conviction. And you can tell by the decisions that they're making. You can tell by how anxious they are when things are taking a dip in their bid. Like you can tell when people are not living with conviction. And I want to kind of talk about a little bit about that today, not for a long time. I know some of you guys are on lunch right now or whatever. So I want to just give you enough to think about, to chew on for the rest of the week, right? I have some coaching notes right here, right? So, we live in a time where, and it's always been like this in some capacity, where there's a lot of information out there, a lot of competing demands, a lot of information, and it's hard. It can be hard if you don't have conviction to decipher what's real and what's not. It's hard. It can be hard and tempting to, sit on a trend versus go with it. It can, like, making that decision, it can be tough, especially when your business is connected to your livelihood and taking care of your family. Like, every business decision is not just for your business, it's for the livelihood of your family. And so you have to kind of filter what's for you and what isn't for you. But sometimes if you don't have conviction, it's hard to do that. So I want to ask you a question before we get deeper into this. What is your conviction? What is your conviction? When you are sitting at these tables, when you are in these meetings, when you at these networking events, when you have a deal on the table, what is driving your decisions? Is it I need to make as much money as I possibly can, which is nothing wrong with that as long as it's a godly conviction? Is it I want to make sure that I'm number one in the industry? That's cool as long as it's a godly conviction behind that. Why do you want to do that? Is it for status? Is it because you want to, get all the press and get in the magazines and get on is it like what's the reason behind that? What is your conviction? There's so many people living without conviction. I attended a Christian networking event yesterday, man. It was amazing. Right now we have some things going on in the Metro Detroit area around, a lot of founders are funding things here. We have a growing business ecosystem here, and one thing that God is telling me is that um, to be consistently clear and connected, be clear about who I'm called to be, but also be connected to the business ecosystem because there are people in this ecosystem that need kingdom insight, a kingdom perspective. So it's easy to be like, oh, this is all about kingdom and kind of align kingdom with church, but really they're not really the same. They're in the same house, they're in the same family, but they're not the same. So how am I supposed to influence the marketplace if I'm not in the marketplace? How are you supposed to influence the people that you're supposed to influence if you're not where they are? So for me, my focus is be clear about who I am, right? That whole conviction piece, but also be connected in a way where the light can shine in dark places. And so I went to this event yesterday for Christian business leaders to kind of kick off something that's happening here in Detroit. And I was encouraged. It was about 10 of us in the room. I was encouraged by the level of conviction that was in that room. We had people from multiple industries. We had people, founders, people who are funding programs, people who worked in nonprofit, people who worked in sales and marketing and all of these different industries. But the thread of connectivity was that we have a kingdom perspective. We love Jesus, and we want to make sure that we are infusing the marketplace with kingdom principles. Like that was, I left out of that room understanding that, well, and not just understanding, but inspired that there are people just like me who want to have just as much impact in the marketplace for the glory of God. Conviction. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? There's one thing I shared with the group yesterday was that one of my convictions is that my family, my wife and my children are my first ministry. That's one of my convictions. That my wife and my children are my first ministry. What does that mean? Well, shame on me if I am in the marketplace and I'm doing the work in the marketplace, but when I get home, my children fear me or they don't show affection towards me or they feel like they can't come talk to me, like there's no real relationship, and my wife doesn't respect me. If my house is not in order, but I'm out here trying to make deals and help people that are outside of my house, far be it from me, shame on me if my business is growing but my home life is suffering. So a conviction for me is that if it doesn't align with our family's four pillars are family, God, God, family, education, and business. Those are our four. Those are the four areas that we are consistently focused on growing in. If it doesn't align with those four areas and some of those sub areas, then I have to ask myself: is it worth doing? If it doesn't, if it doesn't align with me, making sure that I'm spending time with my family. Like if it's taking too much time away from my family, then I have to make a decision. If this opportunity, this business deal doesn't align with my spiritual convictions, I got to make a decision. If this is going to keep me from, partnering with other people, or, you know, getting educated on things, like, if it doesn't align with our four pillars, then I got to make a decision. Oftentimes that decision is for and against other things. It's for my family and against other things. Like, I've been willing to not take a deal because it would have interfered with one of my convictions. There's deals on the table right now that are being pushed off the table because they are not aligning with my convictions. Are you willing to say no to the deal? Are you willing to say no to the partnership? Are you willing to say no to the event? Are you willing to say no to being on that board? Are you willing to say no? Are your convictions that strong? And even if your convictions are that strong, sometimes God can say, you know what? I want you to be here for this specific reason because of your convictions. But you got to know that. And you can only know that is if you are in partnership with him, if you are with him, right? So identity confusion is real and the world profits from it. So when you're not convicted, that means that you don't even understand what your identity is, and the world can profit from that. You can be successful in what you're doing. The world can give you feedback. They can give you awards. They can put you in magazines. They can do all of these different things that business leaders will love to do because it's marketing and it's visibility, and it kind of positions you as an authority in your space. That's all good stuff. There's nothing wrong with those things. But if you're not convicted, if you don't have an identity, you would categorize those things as validation, or they see me, or I must be doing something right. But it's possible to be recognized and still not be righteous. That's some good eating right there. Come on. It's possible to be recognized and still not be righteous. Righteousness comes from the conviction. Your conviction comes from your righteousness. I put it that way. You cannot be convicted if you aren't spending time with the Father. You cannot be convicted, right? So what is your identity? So here is the tension. Let me read this to you. Here's the tension. External validation, it feels like confirmation. As I said, validation and confirmation, right? A big contract, a viral post, a sold out event. These feel like proof that you're on the right track, but they're not. It's not proof. It's not your anchor. Your anchor is your identity in the Lord. And that conviction comes from that identity. I got to keep saying that. I got to keep saying that, right? Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of what? Your mind. The renewing of your mind. If your mind is not renewed, then transformation cannot happen. If transformation isn't happening, then where's the conviction? You can't really have conviction without transformation. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. Here's another point before we move on. Conviction creates clarity when information is competing. Like when you have too much information coming, we talked about that in the beginning. When you have too much information coming to you, or too much information that's available to you, if you're not convicted, it can cause cloudiness. What am I supposed to do? They're doing this. It looks like they're winning. I'm going to do what they're doing. It looks like they're winning. I'm going to do what they're doing. There's this quote that says, success leaves clues. Exactly, it does. However, you have to be careful with that, because somebody else's success might not be what you're called to. So now you're following somebody. You're taking somebody else's framework and making it the gospel. You're taking somebody else's best practices and trying to apply it to your life, to your business. And what if God is saying, man, that's not my best for you? That's my best for them. That's not my best for you. So part of being convicted is saying, God, am I supposed to use this information? And if I am, how so? How am I supposed to use this? Being convicted will keep you from making decisions that don't align with God's best for you. Good information can still be the wrong information, and if you have that FOMO, that fear of missing out, you're gonna miss out. All right, you're gonna miss out on God's best for you. Yeah, good information can still be the wrong information for you. I love that scripture, and I use it a lot. Um, Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. What is that? That visual. That visual tells me and it shows me that if God's word is a lamp unto my feet, that denotes that there's darkness around. Like I'm surrounded by darkness. And if I don't have the lamp, if I don't have his word, I'm going to be tripping over things. Or I'm going to be trying to walk down somebody else's path because it looks beneficial. But as a kingdom business leader, oftentimes what God gives us, there is no blueprint for that. There's no blueprint for that. And so you have to be totally dependent on the Father's wisdom, on his way. You have to be totally dependent on that. Or else you're going to be somewhere you're not supposed to be, wondering why you're there. And here's one of the scariest things. Following somebody else's way, being successful in that way, but still not having any conviction. Following somebody else's way and being successful in that way, but still not fulfilled, still feeling empty. Looking at your bank account and it's full. Looking at your physical surroundings and it looks plush and luxurious, but you're still empty on the inside because you have no conviction. What is your conviction? Will you take that deal even if it's not aligned with who God is calling you to be? Will you form that partnership just because it might put you on a different pedestal, a higher pedestal, but it doesn't align with who God is calling you to be? What is your conviction? Don't allow the immediate access to luxurious options to prevent you from receiving God's best for you. What is your conviction? If there's anything you're going to walk away with today, I want my voice to ring in your ear. What is my conviction? Right. So here's one more thing I want to share with you. And I got caught up in this too. Right. And I had to repent and go through some purging of this because it was taking me down a path that if I didn't stop, um, number one, I wouldn't be here. Number two, I would have been living in somebody else's identity and I just would have been empty. So like the world system, it rewards performance. We know that. I used to work in sales. I used to work in sales at Verizon Wireless, customer service and sales at Verizon Wireless. I used to work in marketing for Sam's Club. And it was all about what are your numbers for this day. Every night at the end of our shift, we had to count how many transactions we made, how many for Verizon we had to sell bundles. So back in the day, when you would come into the store, our job was to start you at we call it our data wall. Our data wall was where the Blackberries were, where all the smartphones were, where the computer phones were. We would start you there because that was the higher end, and we would try to sell you on that because those were bigger contracts and it was bigger data because you had to pay for internet at the time, Web 2.0 or something like that. You had to pay for all that. And so if the fact that we put you in a data program or a data plan, that means we would get residuals off of that. The company would, and we would too, and it would boost our numbers. So we were constantly being coached around pushing people to the data wall first and then walking them down to the cheaper phones. But they were also said don't sell cheaper phones because cheaper phones didn't have data on them. This is a time where like ringtones and stuff. So ringtones was around and all that kind of stuff. But we wanted to get that data money because that data money would keep getting us paid every month after one transaction. And so there were times when my numbers were low, sales wise, but customer service wise, I had the highest one of the highest in the district. So people would actually come into the store because they knew that I was ethical in my sales. Like I wasn't trying to sell you something that you didn't need. I wasn't trying to uncover a need to try to fill it with something that you don't need just so I can get some money or some more data points. So sometimes, a lot of times, actually, my data points were lower because I just refused to like cheat people. But my customer service numbers and my customer service scores were like through the roof. They were through the roof, and there were times when people would actually come into the store just to talk to me, and I was like, "Listen, I don't mind talking to you, but I got to sell you something because I'm gonna get in trouble." So they might buy like a charger or something like that, right? But I got chastised a lot because my performance, my data numbers were low. But over time, here's what happened. Over time, my district and regional managers would come in and see my NPI score. I think it's NPI NPS scores, and be like, Jesse, like people really like you. You ever thought about becoming a store manager? What? So I'm in the sales industry and my sales are low, but my people stuff is high. And they're like, do you want to be a manager? Because we see you doing good things on with our customers and people in the store like you and stuff like that. So I was in a performance driven industry, but because I had a conviction, listen, because I had a conviction, even though I went against what was being taught, I had a conviction that I wasn't going to cheat people. And that conviction is what brought my managers in to sit down with me to talk about furthering my career in the company at the time. Conviction. Conviction. Like what is your conviction? So here's the tension. Here's the tension. I'll read this to you because I don't want to miss it. Performance gets praised publicly. Faithfulness is often invisible, slow, and unrecognized. So your performance gets praised publicly. You did this and you get rewarded for it. All right? But faithfulness is often quiet. It's often quiet. It's often invisible. It's often slow. You ever felt like man, I'm just been obedient. I've been doing what you called me to do, God. I've been trying to do my best to walk in my calling, and it just feel like it's not moving because faithfulness and obedience it happens. It's slow. It's not openly rewarded all the time. It's not celebrated all the time. But as you're faithful, because you're convicted, as you're faithful, you're slowly growing, you're maturing. God is building your capacity. So when the opportunity comes for you to like fully manifest yourself in the marketplace, now you got some roots. It's not just about the veneer. It's not about the shiny thing. It's not just about the charisma. It's not just about, you know, hitting like the high numbers all the time. It's about who are you? Like what is your conviction? The type of person God is calling you to be, that person cannot be so concerned about being celebrated publicly all the time. We just talked about that. Visi- Being visible and being celebrated publicly can be a miscue. It's not validation. It's not confirmation. Oftentimes, it's just a mirror of who you are anyway. It's what the world likes to see, but God wants to see your conviction. What are you convicted of? How are you showing up in the marketplace? Listen to what I'm Don't hear what I'm not saying. What I'm not saying is that you shouldn't try to perform at your highest level at all times. I believe that excellence excellence is worship. Excellence is doing the best you can with what you have. Excellence is worship. I'm not saying just because you're a believer that you don't show up and kill it. Like, I'm not saying that you don't dominate. I'm not saying that. What I'm hitting on is what is the conviction and what is the intention behind that. God has called us to be excellent. I believe that we can bring more people to Christ when we operate in excellence, because kingdom excellence doesn't look like the world strategy around excellence. Kingdom excellence is deeper than what people see. Kingdom excellence is a conviction that carries you from one project to the next. It's like conviction is not project based. It's life centered. Like, this is how I live my life. This is what I do. And I appreciate the congratulations, but I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because this is who I am. This is what I've been called to do. This is who I am. This is what I do. I'm convicted. So what I'm not saying is don't show up in boldness and show up with, don't show up with X. What I am saying is make sure your heart is right. That it's aligned with God's identity in you. It's aligned with how God sees you. I'm sorry. It's aligned with who you're called to be. Living with conviction. Live with conviction. So I want to ask you, if you're watching this now, right now, or you're watching it later, I want to give you a call to action. As it pertains to you as a leader or a kingdom business leader in the marketplace, whether you have your own business or not, whether you're working for somebody else or not, you're still in somebody else's vision. What is one of your convictions? What is one of your convictions as a kingdom business leader? Type that in the comments. I would love to read your comments, and I promise you that I will try my best to respond when you do. What is one of your convictions as a kingdom business leader? I'll share one of mine. One of my convictions is, from this point on, I only want to do business with people where there's some spiritual alignment. Well, Jesse, you're going to miss out on deals. Listen, I've been doing this for a minute, and I've seen what it looks like to work with people who have a big platform, but they're not spiritually aligned. And I've seen what it looked like to work with people who are spiritually aligned. The work gets deeper. The work is deeper. The impact is transformational versus just for the moment. I want to work with people, and I want to coach people where there is a spiritual alignment. That's one of my convictions. And so now when I meet people, I'm quick. If I'm talking to you and I sense that there's a spiritual connection, I'm like, listen, let's be intentional about staying connected and let's build our relationship. I'm not one of those people that put you through a whole bunch of filters. Holy Spirit is my filter. He lets me know if I need to connect with this person or not. And just because you're a Christian now, I mean I'm supposed to connect with you. That's a different conversation. Because you can still be a Christian or claim to be a Christian or a believer and still like be not aligned. And that's okay. That's okay. You good for somebody else, you might not be good for me. I know what it feels like to bring people in and it's not alignment. It disrupts things too much. And so I can still love you. I can still appreciate you and respect you. I would even refer you to somebody that might be in alignment with you. But that doesn't mean that I have to be. So I only want to do business with people who are spiritually aligned. That doesn't mean we're on the same spiritual level. That just means that we are spiritually aligned, that we have the same heart around this work. Because when that happens, the work can get done. I'm about the work. I want to do the work. All right, that's my conviction. We working on something. Let's get this work done. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Man, that was 30 minutes. That's crazy. I didn't plan on being on for 30 minutes, but I wanted to share that with you. If you are a kingdom business leader and you feel like, man, that message touched me, or you feel like you're feeling that tug to work together, I want to share something with you real quick. So, um, this right here, this right here is the Kingdom Confidence Ambassador Program. I want you to go to www.joinkcap.com. Learn more about this because we're commissioning kingdom business leaders into the marketplace. This is our second cohort coming up in August, coming up in September. And yeah, we're excited about it. We're excited about it. So excited about it. So go to www.joinkcap.com to learn more about our KCAP program. If you are a kingdom business leader or you feel like God is calling you to business, this is a 12-week intensive certification course to get you ready to lead with authenticity and boldness in the marketplace in your specific industry. All right? JoinKCAP.com. Here's the flyer again. JoinKCAP.com. It's not just a certification, it's a commissioning. We're serious about this work, and we want to connect with people who are serious as well. JoinKCAP.com. Take a picture, a screenshot. Applications are open now. They will close August 1st. Our first session is on September 14th. Once you fill out the application, somebody from our team is going to review it, and then we will reach out to you about your next steps. But yeah, space is limited. We have 25 seats for this cohort, and we want to make sure that as you're out here doing this work, that you're doing it from a kingdom perspective, and that you are confident, and that you are clear, and that you are connected. Remember that what you want to become depends on your willingness to become it. Have a great day.